Humpy Wheeler's a good tire man. Spent some years with Firestone on the NASCAR circuit. He says he knows what NASCAR needs to do to help Goodyear out of its current jam. Slow the speeds on the big tracks.
Speaking of tough times, you were in the tire business. You were in with Firestone.
Was the fire business.
Fire business.
Yeah.
It's the fire business.
Yeah. What's your take on the current tire problems right now? We saw Stu Grant out there at Bristol. We saw the race at Atlanta. We've had some problems.
I think that Goodyear got an awful hard rap down in Atlanta, considering what happened. They went down there to test. They ran 203 down the front straightaway, which is too fast, and going in the corner, that fast, the tires were only lasting 44 laps. So they had to do something. They had to slow the cars down. That's what they had to do. Since NASCAR wasn't going to slow the cars down, Goodyear slowed the cars down by putting a harder tire on. Now, they may have gotten a little hard on the tire. But what we need to do, and I'll say this over and over and over again, we just simply need to slow the cars down on the intermediate tracks. And that's going to help Goodyear more than any other single thing that we can do. Now, your front top 3 or 4 drivers probably don't like that, because if you slow the cars down, it makes them a little easier to drive. And that means some of the guys that are in the middle of the pack might be up there breathing down their neck. But that's racing. That's what we want. And if we slow the cars down, we're going to have more action in the front. We're going to have more passing in the front. And it's just going to be better for everybody, and it will be particularly better for Goodyear. I mean, we got the heaviest race car running relatively very, very high speeds with the smallest tire on it. Compare the tire Goodyear's got to the one Formula One or the Indy cars or the ALMS series, and it's minuscule. There's not much to it. I mean, that's the way the rules. They got to make a tire within those rules. So we need to do something over on our side to make it easier for them.
We talked to Jeff Gordon last week about slowing the cars down, like you said. Mm-hmm. He said the best way to do it is not to go to a smaller engine or smaller horsepower or smaller cubic inches, but to give them 1,200 horsepower, because then they would have to slow down. What kind of solution would you come up with?
Well, that's the old Earnhardt solution, you know. Move the fences up 20 feet and let them rip. The problem about that is you got tremendous straightaway speeds then, and you got, instead of 203 miles an hour on an intermediate track like at Atlanta or Charlotte or Texas, you'd probably be going 220, and you just about have to put a red light down there at the end of the straightaway and make them stop and then turn left.
But you've seen what they've done with the Nationwide series. They've tried to slow those guys down. They're slower on the straightays and 15 miles an hour faster in the corners.
And that's why this is not an easy thing to do. But there is a way to do it. I'm not saying I'm prepared to say I know the answer to it, because I don't think I do know the answer. But the answer all lies within 10 miles of where we're standing. There's enough brain power to figure out how to do this and make it work. But you're right. We got to be careful about not dramatically increasing the speeds in the corner, which will create tire problems too. But there is a way to do it. It's just a question of figuring it out. It's not rocket science.
You said back in January, if the car tomorrow doesn't work, they got to solve the problem really quickly. You saw the race at Atlanta, single file. You saw the race in California, pretty much single file. What's your analysis for the car tomorrow, and what needs to be done to make it better?
It just needs to make it handle better in the corners where it's more predictable. I think that's the whole thing, is predictability. If drivers have to be comfortable, okay, and the more uncomfortable you make them, the less racing you're going to have. You can go back to the 60s when we were running 197 at Daytona, when we were running a few years later over 200 at Talladega, etc. Nobody was comfortable. You didn't see much going on a racetrack. They slowed the cars down at those places and got back to racing again. So you just got to drivers have a comfort level. At the same time, you don't want to defang the tiger. You don't want to You don't want to make it milk toast. You gotta have some speed in it. That's what it's all about. But there's a line. There's a line between where we are now and where we ought to be.
I would say we have one problem in the sport, tires and testing. This 7-test rule, it's led to people buying $3 million 7-post shakers, and the sport's being driven by engineers back in the shop and not by drivers on the track. I would argue that Lowe's Motor Speedway should be open for testing year-round, that all these tracks, they should open up testing and put bodies on the track to run these tires, to run these cars, to see what's actually going on.
Well, that's a real dilemma because these post machines, I don't think anybody was thinking about them maybe when the car tomorrow was starting to form, because these bodies being all the same are supposed to take away the advantage of all this testing. But these guys just have phenomenal ways of coming up with extraordinary methods to test things. I'm hoping that they get this computer simulation down to a point where you can actually test on that computer. And that would save people a huge amount of money.
You're not going to sell any tickets to people doing a chassis dyno and a computer simulation. You're going to sell tickets when you have the people on the racetrack testing and we're talking to the drivers and saying the car's good, the car's bad.
Yeah, but we sell tickets when we have great racing on the racetrack. And whatever it takes to get there, if it's through a computer, fine. If it's through on-track testing, fine. I just think we're getting computer simulation to the point where it's getting awful close to being able to do the same things you can do on a racetrack or on a post machine.
You don't think it's detracting from the sport, that it's taking away from the sport, that it's making the sport more expensive? I mean, how many 7-post shakers do the Wood Brothers have, or Robbie Gordon?
That makes it more expensive takes away from the sport. Anything. Because what we got to do is get costs down. We need to be lowering tickets right now. We need to get these tickets down to make more people able to afford it. With gasoline like it is and everything else, we need to get ticket prices down. I think when they get this car figured out, they won't have to put so much R&D in it, and it levels out, and that's going to be another year. I think you'll see a drop in cost because it's just the fabrication is so minimal in this. And really, you're getting all your tubing shipped in pre-bent. You don't even need a tube bender anymore, really, if you really get right down to it.
So how many people should it take to do a one-car team? I mean, how many people would you expect with this car tomorrow? If I wanted to start a race team tomorrow, how many people would I have to hire?
I would hope that in a year, if you wanted to start a race team, that you might be able to do it with 20% less people.
And how much would it cost me in terms of a budget? Not a startup, but just the budget per year.
Well, I would hope that you could get that budget down to $7 million. I mean, I'm talking about to be able to run. Now, people are going to say he didn't know what he's talking about, but I mean, sometimes you're just spending money and nothing's happening out of it. You're not picking any time, anything else up with it. But that's why we need to get back and make it as simple as we can, so that people can't just out-engineer each other.
And that's the story today. From Lowe's Motor Speedway in Charlotte, Mike Mulhern for the Winston-Salem Journal and JournalNow.com.